Okay, we're going to start off with yellow yarn for the flower, and we're going to make a magic ring. And we're going to chain 3 and put in 6 double crochets. Okay, then when you have 6 double crochets plus the chain 3, you're going to pull this little string to tighten the magic circle. Sometimes you kind of have to pull a little hard. Just make sure it's closed. Then you're going to go into the first double crochet. So not the chain 3, but the double crochet. And you can count backwards. So it's 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. With a slip stitch. Then you're going to chain 1. And now we're going to do single crochets. So you're going to put 2 single crochets into each stitch for a total of 12. So we're just going to be doing increases in this entire row. Okay, so this is 12. Then I'm going to go into the first single crochet with a slip stitch. All right, now we're going to change the color to white and we're going to do the petals. And this yellow tail here, we're going to cut it, but we're also going to leave it kind of long because this is what we'll use to sew the flower onto the hat. This is like a foot or something, maybe a foot and a half. And then to switch colors, you have your yellow on the little loop there. You're going to take your white yarn, pull it through that loop, pull that yellow to tighten, and then you're going to tie those 2 ends together just with like a normal double knot. And this will just make sure that everything, doesn't fall apart. Awesome. All right, now we're going to chain 1, and in that first stitch, you're going to do a single crochet and then a double crochet. In the next stitch, you're going to do 2 treble crochets, which is kind of easy. It's just you wrap the yarn around your hook twice, stick it in, and then you just kind of pull through as you would like a double crochet, but you just kind of do it twice. So I'm going to do another treble crochet in that same stitch, like that. Then I'm going to kind of do the inverse of this stitch. So I'll do a double crochet and a single crochet. And you're going to do this all the way around. So single crochet, double crochet in one stitch, 2 treble crochets in the next, and then a double crochet, single crochet in the next. So I'll show you what that looks like. We'll do a single crochet and a double crochet. Then we'll do 2 treble crochets. And then we'll go backwards again with a double crochet and a single crochet. And so you'll do this 2 more times, so we'll get 4 petals on this little flower. Okay, so I just finished my last stitch. Now I'm back at the beginning. I have my 4 petals, and I'm just going to go into that first single crochet somewhere in there, do a slip stitch. And this one, we don't have to tie it off that long because we're not going to sew the white part on. We'll let it kind of like hang on the hat. But if you want to sew it on, you can do that as well. So I'll just do a little tail. And then you can also weave these ends in. But yeah, that is the little flower petal. For the hat itself, we're going to be using pink yarn. I have a light pink one here. And we're going to start with a chain of 70. You can also just do a chain that wraps around your head. And I find that 70 works well. And also you want to keep this base chain kind of loose. And you can just like try and keep it in mind. That's what I do. I'm just like, oh, okay, I'll just try and make it a little loose. Or you can alternatively just use a bigger hook. Because if you don't keep this base chain loose, the hat will kind of like start to warp. Because double crochets are thicker than chains. So it just becomes like larger the more you go on, if that makes sense. But yeah, a chain of 70 or whatever fits your head. Okay, so I finished my chain of 70. And so you'll have this chain on your hook and you're just going to, we want to find the end of this chain, but we need to make sure the chain is like straight. So kind of like go out, make sure it's not twisted and that like it's facing this side, not this side. And we're gonna find the end, which is here. It's all straight. And you're going to make like a loop. So you're gonna flip it back around and we're gonna join these two ends together. And the way we're gonna do that, we're just going to put our hook into the top loop of that first chain and pull through. And then we're going to chain 3 and then put a double crochet in that first stitch. And you're going to do this all the way around. So go into each stitch's top loop only and put a double crochet into that stitch. And if you're more of an intermediate level crocheter, you can go ahead and just do this by yourself until you get a total of around 17 rows. It should be a bit longer than what you might expect because we're going to fold the bottom edge up so it looks like a little beanie. But for me, that takes about 17 rows, but you know, whatever your preference is. So this is going to be row 1. So just go all the way around and I'll show you how we connect back here. Okay, so this is my first row and I'm going to go into that first double crochet. That's the chain 3. 1, 2, 3. So this is the double crochet. I'm going to go like that. And now I can start row 2. So this is how you're going to start and end all the rows. So I'm going to do another chain 3. And then into that same stitch, a double crochet. And I think I got a lot of comments before about how like a person's work would like kind of taper up like that. And one of the mistakes that can happen, one is that if your chain here is too tight. Another is that you might be accidentally putting like too many stitches here at the beginning or at the end. So just make sure you're very careful about that. And maybe count your stitches if you think that might be happening. But yeah, you're just going to be doing this for 17 rows. And then I'll show you how we kind of sew the top together. Not really sew, we're going to crochet it together. But yeah. Okay, so I finished the rows. I did 16 instead of 17. But again, just do it kind of whatever you want. And now we're just going to kind of do like slip stitches along the top to just, you know, put the top together. And what we're going to do is you're going to stick your hook not into this stitch, but the one next to it. And then you're going to go across to the other side and just kind of find the corresponding stitch. It doesn't really have to be like perfectly lined up, but that looks good. And then you're just going to kind of keep doing this. So I'm going to go to the next stitch. Then I'm going to go to the other side and look for that corresponding stitch. And you just want to match them 1 to 1, so that way your stitches are like even and like the hat is like symmetric. And just go all the way across, and you're going through both loops. So not just like the front loop or the back loop, but both of them. And you're just gonna go all the way through. Then after you do this, you can just go ahead and sew the flower on wherever you like. I'm gonna stick it on over here, but yeah. Alright, so I'm kind of at the end now, and I have 3 more stitches left, so I'm just going to do the first and the third one. And it's okay if that one stitch is left out. Doesn't quite matter. And then I'm just going to pull my yarn through, cut it, and I'm just going to tie an extra little knot just to make sure that it stays secure, and then you can just weave this end in. So now let's go ahead and put the flower on. Okay, so now I'm going to sew the flower on. I think I'm going to do it in this orientation, but you can also flip it like that if you want. And we're going to kind of be working in like these kind of rows, kind of between, well, like this row and then plus these two. But you can kind of just do like wherever feels right. But I think there feels kind of nice. And I have kind of 4 stitches to the side. And so I'm just going to begin sewing. And this is like kind of self-explanatory. You just kind of, you know, stick your hook in just through one layer. And then, I think that was thunder. Anyways, and then you're just gonna go up. And we're only gonna be sewing around the circumference of this yellow part of the flower. You just stick your needle up, go through there, and again. And you're just gonna kind of keep going all the way around doing this. Okay, yeah. Okay. Just go around all the way and make sure it is secure. And then once you're done, I will show how to make the knot to keep it secure. So my flower is stitched on, and I'm just gonna go inside the hat. And the way I tie it off, it might be a little strange, I don't know. I'm just gonna slip my needle under this stitch, or it can be any stitch. And I'm gonna pull it through, but don't pull it through all the way. You wanna have a little loop here, and then you're gonna kind of wrap the yarn around and stick it through the loop. I kind of taught myself how to like tie these knots, so I don't know if this is like the best way to do it, but this is just what I've done, and I found it works, but you know, I'm sure there's better methods. And then we're just going to slip the needle under kind of some of these to just weave that end in, and you're done. So you can go ahead and like fold the bottom of the beanie up, which is how I think is like the best way to style it. Trim that, and yeah, so just fold like, I kind of like to fold like the first 3-ish rows. Let me zoom out a bit. Kind of like the first 3 rows. I think that looks pretty cute, and I'll weave this end in too. But yeah, hope you found this helpful, and thank you for watching.